Hello, beautiful souls. Today we're talking about healing the mother wound to embrace your power. So there's a lot I'm going to say about this topic today. So I'm hoping it's going to be 30 minutes. It might be longer depending on how much ranting I do. I've just hopped off She Power, which is on feminine leadership and influence and persuasion. So I'm still in the high vibes of that program. So you may get a longer transmission than perhaps expected. So brace yourselves. Okay, so whenever you are beginning your healing journey, the most common programs or beliefs you'll start working on is mummy and daddy issues. If you've been in any form of therapy, you know this is an ongoing process. A lot of our programming begins in this core stage of our development in childhood. So mummy and daddy issues are going to come up in multiple levels, in multiple ways for many, many years to come. So never feel like you're going to be completely done because new things will occur. Now, when you incarnated on this earth, you actually chose your parents. Before you incarnate on this earth, you made agreements of the souls of your parents, and you chose them for the qualities, the lessons, the experiences, unresolved karma. You also came to receive the genetic coding of your parents. Okay, so even though you may feel like you were born to the wrong parents, into the wrong planet, to the wrong body, this is just simply not true. It's a misconception. You actually chose your parents. And so you may have not had the best parents. Maybe you had some difficult lessons that you needed to learn. And so this is why you come to the classes, to heal those wounds so you can come to a place of peace and understand why you actually made those choices in the first place. And to forgive yourself for some of the choices that you made in those experiences, and to forgive them as well in that dynamic that the game was played. And so when you incarnate on this earth, this is not your first incarnation. It's like pieces of a chessboard. You move around in different positions from incarnation to incarnation. So your mother in this life may have been your sister in a past life, or a husband in another. And so we play these different chess pieces through time and space through various lessons. So these are like our soul family that we go through from incarnation to incarnation, learning lessons along the way so that our soul can evolve. However, along with choosing our soul family, we also choose certain experiences that may cause us wounding. And so today I'm going to talk to you about the wound of the mother. And so your mother, she did the best she could. She did the best she could with what she was given. For some of you, maybe your mother was a child, that maybe she never grew up into an adult or a sage, that she operated and behaved like a child, even though she was responsible for taking care of you. So you may have felt like you were a mother to your mother. And so perhaps you're very responsible, you might be very controlling, because perhaps as a child you didn't feel safe because you had to take care of your mum, because you were a parent from a very young age. Maybe your parents didn't show up in the very best way because they wanted you to do well. Maybe that through their judgment and their criticism and their abuse, they were scared for you and they punished you in a way to try and motivate you to do better. That came from like a fear of like lack, that, if you didn't do well in school, that somehow you wouldn't succeed. And so that judgment and criticism about being stupid or being lazy was their way of trying to motivate you into action. Not very useful, I know, in hindsight, but they did the best they could. Your mother, who she was a result of her upbringing. And so your mother carried generational programming that she received from her mother and from her grandmother. And so I talked about this in earlier live, if you've been watching the series these past few days, is not only do we have our core beliefs, the beliefs that we took on from the moment we were born, we also have genetic programming. In our very DNA, epigenetics says we carry programming from 14 generations ago. So this is like your great grandmother. Okay, so what was like for the women in your ancestral lineage. So a lot of the programs or belief systems that women are running to this day is, I must have a child in order to validate my existence as a woman. Some women actually don't want children, but are feeling judged by people around them for not wanting children, being made to have children they actually don't want to have, or subconsciously developing infertility issues as ways to sabotage the process. They can be let off the hook. Okay, so that's one coding you want to release, that you have to have a child. You get to choose to have a child, not that you have to in order to justify your existence. I mean, lots of hearts here. You guys are resonating. Good. So letting go of, the have to, and you get to choose to, so you're free to choose. That's number one. Another one, that you must take care of your family, that somehow you must be in service and in servitude to your family, that somehow the moment your children are born, your life is over, you must sacrifice your life for your children, right? And so what happens when the children grow up? The woman's lost her purpose, and then she becomes the meddling mother-in-law. That's how that manifests, okay? And so your children can't be your sole reason for existence. They are just one of many reasons, but they're not your sole reason, and nor should you have to sacrifice your life or your career for children. You get to have both, okay? And so when you start to release some of these beliefs like, I can have a career or a family, but not both, when you release those, then you're no longer feeling guilty when you're working with your clients, when you should be with your kids, and you're no longer feeling like resentful towards your kids when you're with your kids and you're thinking you should be at work, because you're not present in either. That's not a healthy place to be. So making peace with desiring a career and a family at the same time. And once you make peace with that, you will be shown the strategies and tactics and tools that it will enable you to do both and do both very well. So blowing up that belief, okay? Another belief is that somehow, some of you guys might get triggered by this one, that by taking on your husband's last name, that somehow you are his property. This is a very old program, that the man must take care of me. The man must be the primary earner, he must take care of me. It's the must energy, that's the issue. You get to be taken care of, you get to be nurtured, you get to be loved and adored by your man, right? That he's your king and you are his queen, but there's no need, must. So the moment that that man stops providing for you, does that mean he's less of a man, less of a husband? Because if you have beliefs that he must. So years ago, I had a friend, and she believed like the man must take care of her, he must pay for everything, right? Classic princess archetype. She's waiting for like the knight in shining armor to come and rescue her and take away all her debts and all her problems and take care of her. She'll live in a beautiful castle draped in diamonds. Where's that coming from? It's Disney programming. If you watch a lot of the early Disney movies, a lot of girls were programmed that someday this knight in shining armor will come and take you away and marry you, and you'll have a big ball gown and you'll live in a castle and everything will be happily ever after. For those of you in marriage, you know that's not how it works. Marriage is work. Just because you get married doesn't mean you stop working on yourself and on the relationship. Every day you show up and you deposit in the bank account of that marriage. Just because you're married doesn't mean like all of a sudden you can get fat and you get lazy and be disrespectful. That's the path to a marriage breakup. And this is what that's why a lot of people would get divorced, is because they stop working on the marriage. The happily ever after is a lie. Just because you get married doesn't mean that happiness is guaranteed or that there won't be any challenges or problems you won't have to work through. This is somebody that's going to challenge you, to force you to grow. That's why they're there. They're your companion to help you to grow and evolve, to become better through that dynamic, through that companionship. So a marriage is something that makes you better, right? And so sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable rather than, okay, well, I've got the man now. That's it. I can just let myself go. It won't last. So you're not a property of a man. A man is not a plan, ladies. Okay? You're not looking for a soulmate to complete you. You're not a half a soul. God didn't create half a soul. You are complete. So you're not looking for a man to complete you. You already are a complete soul. And the man just adds to that which you are. It just enriches your life rather than fills a void. So if you're looking for that soulmate to fill a void, to make you feel worthy, to make you feel good enough, to make you feel beautiful, to make you feel safe, even when you are in that relationship, you'll still feel insecure, right? Because you're looking for someone outside of you to fill something that should be filled inside. So, your mother may have programmed you with the belief like, one day you'll marry a doctor, he'll take care of you, buy you a nice house, a nice car, and, you have some children. Like this is old programming that gets handed down from generation to generation, where a woman believes that she must be in servitude to the family, to her husband, that somehow she is his property, that he must take care of her. And so she gives away her power. She gives away her sovereignty. The man decides. And it's a very weak position for a woman to be in that place. And you actually become less attractive and less desirable when you give away your power this way, when you're the damsel in distress waiting to be rescued. It's attractive in the courting ritual, when he wants to be the king and be protector and save the day. But 20 years of marriage of this, where he constantly has to rescue, he will get tired. He'll get tired of a needy woman who needs rescuing. He needs constant reassurance that she's pretty. He needs constant flowers and chocolates to be told that she's, valued, it'll destroy the relationship. Okay? Yeah? And so the role is not to be the slave to the kitchen or the slave to the children, right? To be obedient and compliant and yes, darling. Okay? These are all ancestral programs. The other one is where somehow the woman has no voice, that her opinion doesn't matter, that somehow she doesn't know of things of government and law, and so she's not intellectual enough to have a conversation with. And so the man knows best. The man knows best. He's the educated one, right? And so what the woman does is subconsciously, she puts the man's career forward. His career is more important than hers. So she'll sacrifice her career for her husband because there's this unconscious belief that somehow the man's career is more important because he's the more intelligent one, because he knows of all worldly things, right? You see this a lot in the pay gap to this day, right? What day is it? 12th of October, 2023. So if you're watching this, 5 years time from now, it probably is still happening. There's this ridiculous pay gap where movie stars, the male lead actors being paid like 4 times more than the female. Or in corporate, the same job by a man or woman, still different salary. Oh, because they're a woman. These programs still run. And so you may be this woman in corporate trying to break through the income ceiling barrier, trying to fight against the injustice. Because somewhere on a subconscious level in your DNA, you're running programs and beliefs that somehow a man is worth more than a woman, that he's more intelligent, that he's more educated. Consciously, you may not believe this, but this is handed down by generations, where the man's career is more important than the woman's because he is more smarter, stronger, better, more educated, more intellectual than the woman. And so if you're attracting a situation where you are being underpaid in your role and you're trying to fight against it, all it is the outside world is a reflection of inner world. I just keep saying this again and again in my lives. I hope this is like getting through to you. In order for you to be the equal to a man, you must change within first. The moment you heal those beliefs, those wounds, is the moment you'll find you'll be up for a promotion, or there'll be a headhunter who'll headhunt you into a role where you'll be paid twice as much, because the outside world must reflect inner world. So you're not fighting against the boss and the company culture, right? Because you're fighting outside of yourself for something that is an internal issue. You change the beliefs within you, where you feel you have to fight against the injustice and the pay gap, and you have to battle against government, you have to battle against corporate and fight the men in the boardroom. This is futile, because all of that is a reflection of inner world. That's it. You change your beliefs, and by universal law, the outside world will start to change. When you change how you see yourself, when you let go of having to prove your worth, having to overcompensate by working twice as hard as a man, where you feel like you have to be in constant study to prove you're as intelligent or even more intelligent or even more qualified than a man so that you can be paid equal, right? Can you see how this is holding you back in your career instead of elevating you? And whatever you resist persists, right? What you fight against pushes back. So the war on cancer, the war on terror, what's it doing? It's feeding more of the same. So if you're fighting against the injustice of the pay gap, fighting against government, fighting against corporate, it's fighting back. It's a futile battle. Stop fighting with the outside world, because it's simply you're fighting with yourself. Heal your own beliefs about your worth and your value in the marketplace, so you no longer have to justify what your worth is, that you just know. And when you just know your worth, it's reflected in the outside world. Okay? So we've talked about the princess archetype, waiting for a man to rescue. The man is not a plan, right? Okay. We talked about the slave girl, right? Being in servitude and a slave to the family, to the children. Okay. And this final piece is competition. It's not conscious. Let me use it as a caveat. It's not conscious. Your mother is not seeking to compete with you consciously. We're talking about like millions of years of evolution, where women would compete for the strongest man in the tribe, right? Where women would compete with each other on beauty in order to get the most strongest stud in the tribe, for example. And so your mother is not seeking to compete with you. So sometimes on a subconscious level, the judgment, the criticism, the abuse, whether it's verbal or physical abuse, was simply out of this unconscious competition with you. That you were prettier, younger, maybe you took the attention of your father away from her. Okay, now this is not for everyone watching live. Okay, so if you're getting triggered by what I'm saying, it's more than likely you, and this is the work you need to do. For some of you, you may not even resonate with this, or you may not even be aware. But sometimes the mother competes with her own daughter because the daughter is younger. She gets a chance to start life again. She's skinnier, prettier, and she has daddy's love. And so the wife can feel like, oh, husband's not paying attention to me, he's paying attention to my daughter. It's like daddy's girl. She's a daddy's girl. Classic, right? And so you may have felt like your mother, on an unconscious level, your mother was competing with you. So how does that now relate to your life right now? You may find yourself competing with other women, competing in your arena. So if you're a coach or healer, you may find yourself competing with other women in your industry, women who perhaps are way more ahead of you in their business acumen or their energetic vibration, and you're trying to compete, you're trying to keep up. And so years and years ago, one of my very first coaches ever, I totally adore this man, John Canary. One of the things he used to say is, amateurs compete, professionals create. Amateurs compete, professionals create. I love this quote. So instead of trying to compete with your fellow coaches and healers who can have the best body, who can have the best reels, who can have the best Instagram, who can have the best program or offer, who can have the best monthly revenue or cash month, like all of that energy. So trying to compete, you create new offers, right? Create the person you're meant to be. Instead of trying to be like your coach or be like somebody that you aspire to be, instead of being a copycat, you be yourself. Don't compete with other women. So in the early days, when I was in the theta healing space, and this happens in every industry, there was some competition that was going on. So things like undercutting and bad mouthing, it happens in every industry. And so there was this one theta healer that said horrible things about me to the founder, horrible things. And so in that moment, obviously, my feelings got really hurt. I got a bit scared thinking, okay, what's like Vianna going to think of me? And then I remembered, like, amateurs compete, professionals create. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore what she said. I'm not going to validate it. I'm not going to go running to Vianna and try and justify that this was a lie and slander. I'm not going to give any of that energy to that gossip and that bitching and that drama. Just going to like leave it. I'm going to focus on showing up and serving the best way I can to the people that are in front of me. Not everyone loves Anna Kidney. That's absolutely fine. I don't need everybody to love me. I let go of that belief, right? Letting go of being afraid of people judging me or criticizing me or bad-mouthing, letting go of that fear. People are entitled to their opinions. It doesn't have to be mine. I'm going to focus on the people that are in my room, who are in front of me. I'm going to show up and serve to the best of my capacity. And I leaned into the love I have for my people. Every single day, I showed up not to overcompensate as a way like, let me prove her wrong, like I'll show how good I am. I didn't do any of that stuff because that overcompensation is from the wrong seed of intention, right? Because that's another form of competition. So I wasn't seeking to compete. I was seeking to be the best I could be. So I leaned into the love I have for my work, the love I have for my community, and I showed up every single day, right? Years later, that theta healer, nowhere to be found. Didn't have a business, nothing. Because when you start to gossip and bitch behind someone's back, people see that, that's a reflection of that person. So if they're going to bitch about me, they're probably going to bitch about you. Does that make sense? And so that, like, God took care of that situation for me. I didn't have to justify it. I didn't have to overcompensate. I didn't have to like fight for my reputation. I didn't give it energy. Right? And a lot of women are terrified to be visible online, particularly in this arena of woo-woo, okay, or energy work. They're terrified for fear of losing credibility, right? Or for fear of being seen they're just starting out. Or trying to, compete with other people. Like, oh, but Anna, there's so many theta healers out there. Oh, there's so many Reiki healers out there. Yes. But there's a lot of Reiki healers, theta healers, yoga instructors. That must mean there's a need for it. Where there is a need, someone will show up. It's universal law. Okay? So there's a client for everybody. There's no need to compete. You're seeking to be the best you can be. So healing this mother wound of perhaps where your mother was competing with you for the love of your father, or being jealous of your youth or your beauty because you get to start life again, whereas she's made lots of mistakes and can't take them back, that she's got more life, that she's got less life in front of her than behind her, and she's filled with regret. When you heal that from you, then you no longer need to compete with your peers. That there's no need to gossip, no need to create drama, no need to undermine, and no need to copy anybody else, right? To be like somebody else. You're exactly where you need to be right now. Exactly where even though it may not feel like it, you're exactly where you need to be right now. And your people that you're meant to be serving, are going to be drawn to the real you, not a copycat of somebody else. I'm seeing a lot of this online right now. Everyone's sounding the same. They're all looking the same. And for some reason, everybody looks like Kim Kardashian. Like all the filters look like Kim Kardashian. Right? And Kim Kardashian doesn't even look like Kim Kardashian because she's had so much work. Like this Barbie doll look. Right? Like, where are you in all this? If you want your people to find you, can you be real? Can you be authentic? Can you shop as you? Rather than speaking and writing and showing up in a way that is like somebody else. And this is about when you let go of competition and you shop as the very best version of you, then you give yourself full permission to be authentic. And then the pressure's off. You have to wear a mask. You have to pretend to be something you're not. You have to put on a show. It's just you. In all your idiosyncrasy and in your unconventional bohemic behavior, in all of you, right? Whether it's like in boho chic and no makeup, or messy hair, or in the midst of breastfeeding, or a messy bun day, like all of you. Your people are going to love you for that. Your women that you're wanting to attract are going to be drawn to that instead of Miss Perfect trying to be like your coach or your mentor or like some influencer, putting on a mask that takes so much energy, by the way, ladies, right? You guys know this. It takes so much energy to be something you're not. Yeah. So when you let go of these wounds of competition with your fellow sisters, and this is my final teaching for today, then you enter into collaboration. And this is a beautiful energy to be in. Beautiful. Throughout my over 5 years of business, right? I always brought in collaborators. Business is lonely by yourself. So always brought in collaborators, joint ventures, events together, built a community of thousands of people around the world. It's much more fun doing it with others than competing. You're not seeking to be the best. You're seeking to be one of the greats. One of the greats. You're looking to elevate your fellow members, your sisters, right? Together we rise. Together. That's how we shift the consciousness. I was saying this to my members today earlier in Sheep Hour. I said, if women were in power, I don't think we'd have wars. Like if you ever watch a mum who's got like 2 kids fighting, she'll come in and separate them and give a stern word to each. Very rarely will the mother use violence against violence. She'll just separate the children, have a discussion to both until they both apologize. That's how a woman would handle conflict, right? Separate, calm down until we can have a proper discussion. Diplomacy. It's the feminine way. Women love to talk, right? Men will use fisticuffs. Let's fight the war on terror. Let's fight the war on cancer. It's not working, guys. I'm sorry. It's not, right? Hating on the evil in the world, right, is creating more of the evil. We're going to have compassion and pray for everyone involved, right? Diplomacy, love is the way. That's how we're going to unite humanity. Yeah. And so when you start to collaborate with your fellow peers, then you can achieve far more than you can ever do yourself. Far more. And this is why in a company I build teams. If I'm just a solopreneur, I'm doing everything by myself. I'm wearing all the hats, trying to do it all. It's exhausting. The moment I bring in one more person, I can delegate tasks so I can stay in my zone of genius. I bring in another person. They're in their zone of genius. Now the business grows and it can scale and grow. Right? I bring other people. They learn, they grow. Right? I elevate my people in my communities. They grow and they serve their people. And now I'm paying it forward. My knowledge, my wisdom, my teachings, I pass it forward. So there's no need to compete because there's only one Anna Kitney and there's only one of you. Only one of you. What is your contribution? Why are you here? What are you here to give? Not as the slave, not as the princess, but as the sovereign, the queen, the empress, the goddess, high priestess, showing up in service, not in servitude, to empower your people. This is why you want to heal the mother wound, so you can fully claim your position of leadership, to really understand what it means to nurture yourself, treat yourself with extreme self-care, be kind to yourself, instead of the mean girl who says horrible things to you, right? Where self-care is not a weekly ritual because you deserve it, but it's just who you are. That self-care is part of being a spiritual being in a physical body, that you take care of this body temple because you and this body will be together for a very long time, right? You and these teeth are going to be together for a very long time. You and these ears are going to be together for a very long time, right? The legs, the arms, together for a very long time. So you take care and nurture this body, not because it's a spa day and you deserve it, because you've worked really hard this week. You finally deserve a massage, right? Or the green juice, or the supplements. All those investments are investments in you to honor the body temple on a regular basis, because for you to show up as your very best self, you must not honor and nurture the body temple. And if that's rest and sleep, that's what it is. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're exhausted, if you're tired, you can't give to anyone. Yeah. So decide right now that self-care, self-nurturing is not a ritual or a practice. It's just what you do. It's just who you are. You have a body, you take care of the body. Washing your hair, brushing your teeth, right? Massages, exercise, supplementation, all of that is required to honor the body temple. It's not a ritual or a practice, ladies. It's absurd. Absurd. You get to deserve to, earn the right to have a massage. Right? These are all corrupted programs where women feel so guilty for wanting to nourish and nurture themselves. They turn these things into a treat instead of a necessity, a requirement. Right? My requirement is time for myself. I give time to myself before I pour into others. That's what I do in the morning, time to myself. Then I show up as a better mother, a better wife, a better teacher, when I pour into me. But if you're still running these mother wound programs, then you're in sacrifice. Giving. By the end of the day, you've given so much, your cup is completely in deficit, and you've got nothing to give to yourself. And you're wondering why your life is not where you want it to be. Because you've poured so much into others that your bank account is empty. Your self-worth, your life force energy, all of it empty. You can't pour from an empty cup. This is why the mother wound is such an important and crucial component to heal. And it doesn't have to take a long time. Awareness, which we've done today, awareness is the first step. You're now becoming aware of, okay, I can't fight against corporates to get the pay rise. I need to change my beliefs. When I change my beliefs, my point of attraction changes. I get the promotion, or I change companies, or I start my own empire. This often happens. My clients end up starting their own empires. Like, screw this, I'm not playing the game with the boys. I'm going to build my own playground. I'm going to build my empire. So that's typically what women do. Not all of them, but most. Then you can pay yourself whatever you want because you're in charge of your financial independence. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys some downloads on today's topic. By all means, the energetic downloads are not a complete healing. You still need to come and do the work. So if you're a theta healer, work on yourself or with your accountability buddy. We've got like Soul Line Selective, Spiritual Healers Collective. Those are my Facebook groups where you can find lots of theta healers to do healing swaps with. Obviously, if you're not a theta healer, then obviously come and do the courses to learn how to do this for yourself very quickly, very, very, very quickly. Your life will never be the same again. I promise. Okay, so let's clear some of these energies. So the first thing is, let's just bring in forgiveness. Forgiving yourself for all the times that you let yourself down, where you backed down and stayed silent, where you tolerated someone disrespecting you, where you bit your lip because you're trying to keep the peace. So let's bring in forgiveness, yeah? Thank you. Just give me a yes. That gives me permission to shift this energy out of your field, out of your cells, on every level of your being, in all languages, all aspects. Thank you. And can the Creative All That Is teach you and show you that you know how to collaborate? Collaborate with teams. Collaborate with family. Collaborate with your peers. So can Creative All That Is, God, Universal Intelligence, teach you that you know how to, what it feels like, what it looks like to collaborate. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay, and let's release anywhere that you feel you have to earn the right or deserve to rest, to put your feet up, to relax, anywhere that you are using guilt as a way to motivate you to keep being productive and purposeful, and anywhere that you're still in servitude or in slave energy to your children, to your husband, to the boss, to society, to the government. Okay, so let's release all the places that you're in servitude and slave energy. If that's okay, thank you. This is a very old energy, so I'm asking the Creator to release this across time and space. So the slave energy is running through many generations and past lives. So I'm asking the divine energy to take care of all the instances, to collapse this energy of needing to be the slave in order to be taken care of, in order to belong, in order to fit in order to be loved, in order to justify your place as a woman. Anyway, that you're feeling like being a woman is a burden that you must be taken care of because you're helpless. All of that is just being taken care of. Thank you. I just want you to use your breath. Breath brings spirit into the body. Let it go. It's a very heavy energy. There's a lot of it, so use your breath. Thank you. Okay, so I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm getting a really strong guidance to do this with you guys. So I want you just to put your hand on your sexual chakra. So it's kind of like your belly button, okay? And so this energy relates not just to sexuality, but also abundance, including money. So sex and money are actually linked. And so I'm being asked to kind of like heal shame for wanting and desiring abundance. This is to do with your ability to receive. Typically receiving happens through the heart, receiving love, receiving support, typically enters the heart. But in the sexual chakra, the receiving energy is more about like receiving nurturing, receiving money. Some of you are really great at making it. You're not necessarily good at like actually receiving it. So you can get it, but some of you can't hold on to it. So you're getting it, but it's slipping through your fingers. And so this goes back to, I'm getting this now. This goes back to old ancient times where a woman wasn't allowed to own property, wasn't allowed to vote, that if she came from a wealthy family and was married, her wealth automatically then became her husband's. So only in the last kind of, I think about 80 to 100 years, I think in the last 50 years, we're allowed to vote. But like owning land, owning a business, having control of your own money. Like typically the men were in control. So this is limiting women's ability to actually hold on to money. You're making it, but it's slipping through your fingers because on a subconscious level you can't hold on to it. And the block is actually in your sexual chakra. As I mentioned, it's not just about sex. It's about abundance, money. So I'm going to just ask Creator to do a clearing on this so that we can release the shame in receiving, that you have the divine birthright to receive money, make money, keep money, save money, invest money, and have plenty left over. So this energy of more than enough, overflow, not just enough to pay the bills, not just enough to make do, right? But more than enough is overflow because the energy of the woman, we're creators. That's the feminine aspect, is creation energy. We give birth to babies, we give birth to businesses, empires, ideas. So when a man is creating an idea, he's birthing an idea, he's using his feminine aspect. So as women, it's our innate nature to create. When we bake a cake, we create. When we make a beautiful meal, we create. When we're developing a child, we're creating the child. We're sculpting the child in our parenting. It's all creation. When you're painting a painting, when you're doing healing work, it's creation, right? Men, masculine, build, nuts and bolts, building, right? And there's parts of my business that I do building. I mean, my masculine and my feminine aspect. I've learned to fuse both. So both are required. But in the context that we're talking about today, of like, you're making money, you're just not able to keep it. Some of you don't feel like you can have ownership of it. It's linked to these old ancestral programs of like women not being allowed to own property, land, and money. So I'm just asking, I've got very strong guidance to this clearing for you guys. So with your permission, let's clear this out from your sacral chakra. Sexual chakra. And again, I just want you to imagine breathing into that space, breathing into your womb space. That you know what it feels like to receive all the abundance from the Creator, knowing that you're worthy and deserving no matter what. There's no limit on what you can be, do, or have. To fully access your point of creation, to create new opportunities, new ideas, new offers, new money. What it feels like to be a magnet to this creation. Do we know what it feels like and what it looks like to make money, keep money, save money, invest money, and have plenty left over? Let's just turn on and access this feeling of overflow, more than enough. Like Goddess Abundita, right? This overflowing energy, more than enough, like the banquet, the bounty. For some of you, it's Goddess Lakshmi is very present. For others, it's Abundita. So just feeling this overflow. You may feel like a beautiful shower of golden coins is washing over you right now. Golden coins. This represents all the abundance that you've been asking for, pre-scheduled, and now you're ready to receive. So receive, receive, receive. Keep breathing into the womb space. Letting go of any guilt or shame for desiring money or wealth. Okay, almost there. So I'm seeing like, as I'm tuning into everyone watching live, and this will be relevant for those of you watching the replay, is like when I get the money, I have to give it. I have to give it to the mother-in-law. I have to give it to my husband. I have to give it to the kids. It's like the moment you give it, you receive it, you have to give it, away because that's what women do. We just give, we're great givers. So women are great givers, not the best receivers. And this is tied to vows, oaths, and contracts that you must give all that you have. So by its very nature of creation, we give birth to something and then give birth to a child. We don't own that child. Legally, in 3D reality, yes. On a birth certificate it says we are the mother, but we don't own souls. Souls belong to God. We are custodians of children. We don't own humans. So people get confused, right? They tried to with slaves, right? Okay, we don't own humans, nor do we own our children on a spiritual level. Okay, so when we give birth to something, it's letting go of the ownership of it. And so we tend to like give. But in the context of money, it's like you're receiving it, then automatically you're giving it. So when I downloaded this energy into you, it's like, okay, then I can pay off this, and I can give it to this, and I can give it to my mother-in-law, and I can pay off the house, and I can pay off this, and it's almost like this giving it away before you even are able to hold it and let it sit in your energy, and being able to a portion of the money to actually have for yourself to create generational wealth. And so I'm going to ask the divine energy just to like cut the cords to all the vows, oaths, and contracts you have that you must give all that you have, if that's okay. Thank you. That's better. Oh, so good. How are you feeling, everyone? Let me know. How are you feeling? So good. Everyone feeling blessed? This is feeling really good, really good. Okay, I'm curious to see what's happened. So definitely in the next kind of like week or so, definitely let me know in the chat, in this thread of this video. Let me know all the things that manifest for you. Yeah, I want to hear all the new things that are occurring in your life, what you're manifesting. This might be money, this might be a client, this might be an opportunity, this might be a promotion, right? I want you to be in the energy of expectation, expecting yourself to receive. And when you do, say for example you receive money, let it sit in the account. Before you start paying bills, let it sit in the money and sit with the feelings. You're probably not used to allowing plenty of money just to accrue in your account. So let it just sit there and just sit with the energy until you can stabilize it and normalize it. We want to normalize having plenty of cash in the bank rather than always paying out and feeling like I need just enough. We want it to be in the energy of plenty, more than enough, and overflow. Those are very specific codes I want to make sure that you guys have when you do our classes, that you know how to make money, yeah, save money, spend money intentionally, keep money, invest money, have plenty left over, right? So you get to give it to charities, and there's so much left over that you still get to save as well. Like all of those are different programs, right? And that requires digging, okay? Oh, thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. Oh, it was for you as well. Yeah, you're at the right place at the right time. I'm so pleased, Amal, so pleased. Yeah. My pleasure. Oh, thank you, Roxanne. Thank you. Oh, hey, Justina. Hello, hello, my lovely. Hey, Miller. Hello, hello, gorgeous. Hey, Frankie. So Frankie was on She Power. You're in all my programs, Frankie. You're just from one program to the next. You're in my world. And again, I want to just really honor the work you're doing, Frankie, with your clients. Just phenomenal, phenomenal. This is a lady you want to watch, guys. She's amazing. Hey, Aya. Hello, hello, Christina. Lots of familiar names. Okay. All right, my beautiful souls. Thank you so much for joining me. So yeah, in the feed, let me know in the next few weeks, like what stuff is manifesting. I want to create a really long thread of all the beautiful manifestations that are occurring as a result of this energy now being unlocked. Yeah. And also, if there's something you want to teach me to teach, just send me a DM. I've got lots of ideas for the stuff I'm going to be doing over these lives. But if you've got something specific that you'd like me to teach you on, speak on, something perhaps that hasn't been covered by your teacher in Vegan classes, you want to learn from me, and that's something that would be relevant for in our community, then definitely send me a DM or post it into the chat. And yeah, we'll see you for our next live. Thank you so much, and we'll see you inside our Vegan classes. Mwah. Good night.